Hello, I am live. Nice guys. So I'm doing this review. Well, first of all, I'm gonna introduce myself. My name is, and my channel is Freshprogresswellness, and that's my brand. I'm a Black licensed mental health counselor, and I love pop culture. I have a podcast called Lovely and Fresh Podcast, where I talk about all things mental wellness and pop culture and all that good stuff. And I am also on quarantine, so that in itself has been very interesting. But I'm happy to be here talking with you guys. So for this video, I'm going to be basically talking about Insecure. It's one of my favorite shows. I have my critiques, but I just really like it. It's I don't know, it's very contemporary for what it's worth. And I kind of wanted to break it down from a therapist perspective. I'm gonna do this every week, and hopefully you guys like it and you guys tell me that you want to see more and it just tickles your fancy and all that good stuff. So please comment below. So right now I just want you to comment below who's your favorite character on Insecure and what do you think is gonna happen with the next episode. So who's your favorite character on Insecure and what do you think is going to happen on the next episode, right? So my favorite character on Insecure, it's kind of hard. Like, it's not one of those shows like Gossip Girl. I can say Blair Waldorf, like through and through, you know? Insecure, I don't know. I can't really say through and through. But I will say I do like Kelly a lot. She always makes me laugh. And I see myself at times relating to both Issa and Molly. So I guess you can say those two. I'm sorry, my hand is killing me. So yeah, and then what I think is going to happen in the next episode, I'll probably share that at the end of the video. But yeah, so I should just start reviewing. But basically the episode starts off, Issa is in her apartment. Her apartment is newly, furnished. It's different. It's a vibe. And I don't know if you guys watched the last episode, but she was ghosted by Nathan. And it was really hard for her. She was stalking him. She was losing sleep. And I think that's a whole other conversation just about toxic communication and how millennial dating to a degree and just how ghosting has expanded and how kind of unhealthy it is. Nothing's wrong with rejection. People do not have to love you. People do not have to date you because you want to date them, with all honesty, as dark as that sounds. But having that conversation is so important because it can kind of for what it's worth be triggering for a lot of people, and we kind of saw that with Issa last season, right? So before we got into this season, I know she was like redecorating her apartment, playing music, doing all that stuff. And she was engaging in nesting, right? And really enjoying and finding joy in the space that she's in, with or without Nathan, right? And that's something I suggest for most people to do. Change furniture around in your apartment, light some candles, do something new with the place and the environment that you're situated in, right? To a degree, I think we are all like bacteria, and we're like just need to find the right host to grow and flourish in, right? And sometimes our places, they can just be kind of mundane, right? There's nothing inspiring or jaw-dropping or intriguing, right? So sometimes just changing the furniture around, falling back in love with old music and old artists, it's a good way to kind of delve into the singlehood, delve into the new year or the new phase that you're going to in a productive way. So I did like that. So like I said, it starts off, she's in her newly decorated, nested apartment, and I think it starts off with her on the phone, and she's basically saying, I don't F with Molly anymore. Boom. And everyone's like shocked, like, are you kidding? Like, the duo, like, they can't break up. This is only season 4. So it gets crazy. So it just goes like rewinding back to an earlier time. And we get to Issa, and I think she's in the bed. And she is having sex with a chunky guy, a bigger man. And it was interesting because I was just like, who is this guy? Like, You know what I mean? But I thought it was awesome, right? We do need that representation of different bodies engaging in pleasure. And I think that for what it's worth, Issa Rae tried to do that to a degree. So that was kind of nice. And it was funny. It was realistic too, you know, in terms of conversating. And I think a huge issue that a lot of couples fall into, and even single people, not even a couple, but this idea that amazing, you know, physicality, it just happens. It's like this. It's like I woke up like this, you know? But to a large degree, your sexuality isn't fluid. What you like, no, what your sexuality is fluid. What turns you on and pleasure is fluid as well, right? It changes over time. And you could kind of be encouraging your partner or others to mind read, right? Versus like actually just saying what's what, right? Saying like, this doesn't feel good, this does feel good, right? Being straight, direct, to the point, and just saying it, you know? So Issa does some of that, and they finally find a great position that works for them. And, you know, it was cute. And they're finished, and he's like ends up giving her like Hennessy and I guess a pill bottle or something. But we don't know much about him, but so far he gets the check from me. I'm not seeing anything abusive, violent. I did wish we kind of got a little hint that they're not officially dating by any means. But you know, you did get a hint that there is some passion there, so that's a plus. If you're interested, some of this language I'm getting comes from research, Steinberg's love triangle. I'll have it in the description below. But it's a fascinating psychological concept just about relationships, where most relationships and partnerships fall into a triangle of sorts, like this, right? And at one leg of the triangle is passion, right? I like you, you like me, chemistry, right? We both get each other blood boiling. The other top part of the triangle is intimacy, right? Into me, see, as Esther Perel would say. But the idea that I understand, right? I understand, I seek to understand, I seek to correct. I want to be in your corner. I have enthusiasm, right? Intimacy is huge. And then the last part that people don't usually talk about too much is commitment, right? And not just commitment in terms of we're boyfriend and girlfriend and we're in love, right? But commitment with plans, commitment as a negotiation, and a commitment with tangibles, right? I always encourage couples or just people in general, both in like the work world and the relationship world, make sure you just discuss your tangibles, right? A relationship is kind of not just we like each other, you know, it's discussion of monogamy. Is discussion of social monogamy, or is it okay if the other person talks to other people online, right? I'm sorry. It's a whole slew of things. So I think it's really important to have those conversations in relationships. And, you know, no commitment, there's no plan to a degree. So, you know, we don't know that yet about Issa's relationship. But like I said, Steinberg's triangle is a really fascinating way to look at partnerships, improve your own partnerships, as well as like, you know, negotiations that you have. So they're done. Issa and Molly end up having a self-care Sunday. Now, I didn't really like this part. I'm a therapist, and I'm like pro self-care. If you go on my Instagram, that's all you'll see. But it was just like the dialogue felt a little awkward to me. Like self-care Saturday, self-care Sunday, self-care day. And I'm like, okay, we get it, you know. I'm a girl's girl. I always had a lot of girlfriends, and you know, I'm like the girls' trips and the bridal parties, and that's me. Like, I'm the girl, and it's just not something that's in my vernacular. So it was just kind of, you know, but it was nice to see the friendship. It was nice to see the jokingness. It was nice to see the silliness. And I think we all like to see that for what it's worth. As much as we focus and we delve in on like romanticism and romantic relationship, friendships are like absolutely amazing. And everyone's different. Like I know some people that they don't have a lot of friends, or they're not, you know, that's not their cup of tea. But I've had great friends. I love my friends. I had lifelong friendships, you know, so I really enjoyed that scene. Just kind of seeing two girls enjoying their self, you know, doing yoga and all that fun stuff. So after that, I'm moving so slow. I'm gonna move a little faster. After that, we kind of see Issa and her new job with, I think, Contessa, the girl from the last episode. Contessa is organized, on top of it. She knows how to schmooze. She's in the professional world. She's just well dressed. And it seems like her and Issa are developing a budding professional relationship, you know. It's always great if you can work at a job where you like the people you work with, the person you work with. You can talk about stuff outside of work. That is like such a blessing. And you know, I always say we have, I relate to like reality therapy with like the 5 major needs of like work, play, love and relationships, power and accomplishments, and survival. And I think if you're able to work and have a little play mixed in there, you're considered a pretty lucky person. So it seems like Issa's really getting that in that work environment with Contessa. But the T is, Contessa is dating Lawrence. Lawrence looks so good. I'm not gonna say too much though. I don't wanna make anybody jealous. But Lawrence looks good. He's doing good. But he's dating her. He's dating Issa's boss, which is crazy, crazy, crazy. So Issa doesn't know, and it's just awkward, you know, whatever. And I think I'm gonna just speed up, but I think end up like after some time, it ends up showing, I think, Molly and her boyfriend, everyone calls Asian Bae. I think his name is Andrew. Andrew's cute too. Oh my God. I think this show should be called Cute Guys Self-Sabotage, because let me tell you, I'm sorry y'all for all the car sounds. Yeah, Andrew's cute. And, you know, they're going bowling and they're being cute. And, you know, he's like, if I get a strike, you got to kiss me. And he doesn't get a strike. And Molly still kisses him. So that was really, really cute. And I'm like, this is what love is made for. So I really like that. And we're rooting for them. You know, it's episode 1. They're a couple. We're rooting for them, right? So then we end up moving to Molly back. Molly. Issa back at work with Contessa. And oh my God, Amanda Seale's character, Tiffany, ends up coming and they end up talking. And basically through he said, she said, he said, Issa finds out that Contessa is dating Lawrence. And it is crazy. Contessa is uncomfortable. Issa's uncomfortable. That scene, I know it happens. I know the show's a comedy, but it could have been a lot better. I honestly just wish it came up in conversation. Like, knowing me and just knowing kind of a little bit, I could be like, you know, whatever. I'd just be like, oh, what's his name? Da, 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 da. Like, I didn't like how it came out. Like, I just really didn't like that. You know what I mean? And they could have played it off a little better, because I'm also the kind of person that keeps secrets, right? So if one of my friends is dating somebody, you're never going to hear me really talk about it. Like, it's not my place. It's not my business, you know? So I think it could have been written a little better. Issa finds out, Contessa finds out. They're so uncomfortable. Like, I think that scene was good in terms of the acting, because it was just very uncomfortable. Like, you could feel like a pin drop, right? So then I think Contessa ends up going to Lauren's house. They have a little date night. He's so excited. And she tells him, and he's like, oh, what? Confused. And then boys are so stupid. Oh my God. This is not my therapist's opinion. This is not my therapist's opinion. This is just like a joke. I don't mean men are stupid. Guys are awesome. People are awesome. However people identify are awesome. But I'm just saying, like, oh, like, and she's like, oh, I see, I found out that I met your ex or whatever. And he's like, my ex what? And she's like, ex-girlfriend. Like, just so stupid. Like, Ninja, what other ex? What other ex? Like, it's just crazy. So that scene had me laughing. But Lawrence seemed to take it pretty well, He was like, oh, I did like he didn't throw Issa under the bus, because he could have easily been like, well, she cheated. But he didn't say any of that, so I had to give him a little integrity props. But LA is small. LA is small. I think New York's small too. Born and raised in New York, went to school in LA. I think they're both small places for what it's worth. So I kind of get it, but I thought that scene was good, and I was happy that Contessa left. She thought it through, because for what it's worth, that's just uncomfortable. Everybody's different, but I know for me, that's like, for me, it's not a turn on. It's not, like, I'll just be thinking about my friend and that person the whole time, you know? So I thought it was just realistic, and I was happy that she left. So Issa's planning this big Inglewood, like, pool party kind of thingy, block party thing to get fundraise money for her job, community job thing that she's doing. And she ends up having it at her, I think, old place in Inglewood. And it's going pretty well. You know, she hired her brother as the DJ. TSA Bay is like the security outside, and he was so funny. He was like, "Come, this party's lit. Brah, 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 brah." That, you know how Nikki goes like da 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 da. That's what it reminded me of. So I thought that was really funny. That made me laugh. But yeah, so Issa did good on that. You know what I mean? Like, if you can get your friends to help out, as someone that did work in nonprofit world, that's the wave. You know what I mean? And I'm all for that. Like, having lived in Florida, the part of Florida I lived in, I had a lot of friends with nonprofits and different things, and I'm a big fan of, like, my friend does something in that area, let's use them, you know? So I kind of like that. I thought that was cool. It did show the, you know, balance though, right? You like, almost like what Megan says, classy, bougie, ratchet. Like, you gotta be able to work in both worlds, you know, because she had like really fancy donors there that wanted more classy language and statistics and numbers, and then she had, you know, the community, whatever that means, there that may have not wanted that, right? So I thought that was interesting, and I thought that was realistic, and that code switching, you know, we're not taught, and it's such an important skill. So I really like that piece. So the thing goes pretty well for what it's worth. It goes pretty well. Issa and Contessa are still awkward. You can tell there's still like a little underlying tension. Molly and Bae, Asian Bae, so much tension. When they're driving there, it comes out that Andrew's seen other people and Molly's not, and Molly lies, and Molly's being really passive aggressive, right? So I always teach people about 4 communication no-nos. This will probably come up again, but the first one is being evasive, secretive, right? You should just know you shouldn't be dating other people. Da, 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 da. That's like mind reading. Like, at the end of the day, like, it sounds messed up and it may sound like common sense, but it's like, unless that conversation has had, or that boundary has been addressed, and you've told someone, like, when you cross this red line, I get pissed, then it's really hard for, it's really hard to kind of make your case and just have a healthy relationship. Like, this thing could have been ended. If I was a therapist, I would have gotten there, right? So rather than you should have known, to make your request, what's underneath you should have known is what, Molly? Well, underneath you should have known is, you know, betrayal, right? So you feel betrayed. What part of you feels betrayed? My relationship feels betrayed because I thought that I was the only one. So right there, that's what he needs to hear. I thought that I was the only one, and I cared about him, and my time, attention, and energy was focused on him, and I would like to discuss more in terms of how that actually looks, right? So it's just, I know I made it sound easy, but it's not easy. It's really hard. I suck at it, but it's just communication, you know? And a lot of it we're taught in our families, we're taught in movies. Fairy tales are not the best, y'all. That's gonna mess up your relationship. But like fairy tales and, you know, all that kind of stuff, like, we need to say what we want and we need, and we don't. That's a whole other conversation. And there was just awkwardness, you know? Molly wasn't being honest with Andrew. Andrew was feeling weird vibes, but he wasn't really getting anything, right? So it was just this withdraw and pursue. Andrew was pursuing Molly, and Molly was withdrawing, right? And it's like that cat and mouse, and nobody wins, right? So that was kind of sad to see. And I wish I could have came in there as a therapist, you know? Issa and Molly, towards the end, the party wraps up, yada-da-da-da, and Molly makes a comment that Issa is really messy, Issa shouldn't be working with Contessa because of the Lawrence situation, and that, you know, she ends up admitting that she thinks Issa likes the mess, and she kind of makes Issa seem childish, and Issa is offended, but also doesn't necessarily say I am hurt. She doesn't necessarily say I don't like when you say that to me, that makes me feel uncomfortable, right? So they're both kind of like straddling that passive aggressive line, right? So that was kind of not the best, and I wish I could get in there to have a conversation with the both of them, right? Because honestly, with all complete honesty and transparency, Molly is allowed to have her opinion and perspective on the whole situation, and Issa's allowed to have her opinion and perspective. But if they're going to keep it at exactly 110%, you know, Molly was probably still festering over the Andrew situation. Issa was probably overwhelmed by how great her event was, right? And it was just a lot of different things that were sitting on that really weird conversation, right? So talking about that, I think, would have been helpful. And then that metaphor, they ended up taking out the trash, and there was this like awkward moment where Molly was like opening the door for Issa, and Issa just walked past her and like dumped the trash. And I think it's like a metaphor of their relationship, right? Dumping the trash out, probably cutting some ties. Like it was like a deep metaphor. Like, what things are we carrying that we need not carry, right? What do we have in our life that we don't want, right? And what do we want in our lives that we don't have? So I think those are some really fascinating metaphors and, you know, things that I saw in the episode. But I guess we just have to wait and see what's up and see what ends up eventually spiraling into Molly and Issa's relationship and Molly and Asian Bay. So we shall see. But I hope you guys like this review. Please comment, like, subscribe, tell a friend, tell a Ken, tell that you hate, as my friend Alexander Rogers, who I love, would say. So yeah, I hope you guys like this. I feel really awkward because I always have my lashes on. I'm a little bit more cute, but I'm like working out right now, and it's quarantine, and you know, quarantine life, you're gonna get what you get. So this is it, guys, but I hope you liked it. Please comment. I want engagement. I'm going to try to do this every week for you guys. And follow my podcast at Lovely and Fresh. It's on Apple, Spotify, Google Play, and my Instagram at freshprogresswellness. It's a bunch of good stuff, and I'm hoping to still do stuff with Essence, so we'll see. But bye, guys. Support this young Black therapist and continue to prosper. Bye. It's so dark, I can't even. Ooh. Ooh, ooh. Turn it off. How do I turn this? Oh. X.